Question for you, wholesome one, concerning the quarterback position and your evaluation and how you would handle this. And it's not an easy evaluation or an easy question I'm going to give here. You know, if you're talking about Drew Brees or Tom Brady, they could have every pass hit the ground in August camp and nobody's going to question, they still get the game one start. But you got TVD, 25 TDs, 6 picks. We could go on and on about what he did. I saw a stat during the spring game that showed he's the first quarterback since Joe Burrow in 19 to throw, I think, 6 consecutive games of 350 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Mhm.
Anyway, so he did it against NC State, Pitt, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, Jake Garcia looked better in this one practice. And again, it's a practice. It's one of
Absolutely.
15. Just happens to be on TV. It's no more important than the other ones. But 15
Thank you.
times they hit the field, and we have no idea.
Thank you.
But hypothetically, if you're in a situation where there's a quarterback who has proven themselves, but not, again, over the course of 10 years, over the course of 8 games, and then you've got another quarterback who, from a talent perspective, they're pretty much equals, correct? If anything, Garcia was rated higher.
Yeah. If we were to just take off of what they did in high school, you could say again, according to 247 and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You would say that Jake is a little higher now, based on collegiate production and what we've seen on Saturdays. TBD is a lot higher.
If there was an August camp between 2 quarterbacks and one hit the resume of a TVD and the other one was a Jake Garcia, how much would that second quarterback have to outplay the first quarterback to get the starting job in week 1? Or is there just no way he's going to be able to win the starting job because of what TVD did during regular season games?
The fan in me would say, nope, you got a QB1. That's it. Shut it down and go. The coach in me understands that there is no job that isn't worth battling. Okay. Now, what I mean by that, to answer your question, Jake Garcia would have to eat up on second and third team. Because what happens is, Mark, if you see certain players like, hey, he might be turning the corner. Let's give him some first team reps and see what he does. Now, usually you do first team O against second team D, second team D against first, again, back and forth. Okay, so if the first team O goes out there, TBD, and he's going against the second team D, and let's say, for example, it's not up to par, then Jake goes out there with the second team players against the first team, and he is picking them apart. I mean, eat them up. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, okay. Mental note. He comes in, he's prepared, he does the same thing the next day. The same thing day 3. Now the conversations are going to start. Murmurs, whispers, chirps. What's going on here? Then when we start doing 1v1s, because that's what you start to do a little closer, okay? A little closer to the first game. You start to get those 1v1s, okay? We're starting to really get after it in training camp. Bodies are hurting. The leaders really have to pull up because it hurts. You don't want to be there. You're drained. It's hot. You're angry. Somebody even walk by you. You like, man, I'll punch you in the face. You get real angry. Okay, and if Jake is still doing that, let's say, for example, a second team quarterback, period, because I know how our fan base is still doing well. And that second quarterback goes out there against the ones and takes off. That's where the conversation has to be had about, especially if the presumed QB1 is starting to decline or is starting to have off the field issues, starting to feel like they already made it, really nonchalant, whatever. What are you going to do? Start the other guy? You start to get those kind of attitudes, and then they really go separate from one another. The team starts to surround the second quarterback, and people are playing hard for that second quarterback. Then that's what happens. I'll give you an example. MarkRogersTV and N'Kosi Perry. The team and the fan base and a bunch of people were for N'Kosi. But Coach Mark went with Malik, even though everyone on the team had more confidence in N'Kosi Perry and what he brought to the table. And eventually, one took over the other. As soon as he made a mistake, because Coach Rick didn't like him anyway. So as soon as he made a mistake, he yanked him. And the season kind of was a wash after he yanked them against a really subpar Virginia team off after making one or two bad mistakes, as opposed to sticking with him and saying, all right, we'll go to the run game until you can cook back up. So again, because I know the video is going to be cut up, and I know the title is going to be clickbait. So I'm going to say this again. Tyler Van Dyke is our starting quarterback today. And I think going through training camp and into the very first game against the illustrious Bethune-Cookman University, my parents' alma mater, that he will be our quarterback. I was answering a question about how the second quarterback can overtake the first quarterback. Okay, I gotta say it. I have to say it, Mark. It's not against you. I've bled this orange and green for 25 years, and I know this fan base. And I know the comment section is going to go crazy about, oh, you heard wholesome things. Jake Garcia is way better than TBD. That's not what I said. I didn't say that. I'm answering the question.
Exactly. We all watched the spring game. I had the same evaluation, not having the same evaluation skills as the wholesome one, but I had the same evaluation about which quarterback looked better. And then I was just raising a hypothetical situation. You could put any two quarterbacks in those two spots. One's got the experience and has been a stud, but for a very short period of time. The other guy is equally as skilled, but has no experience. What would you do, or how would you look at that situation if the number two guy outplayed the number one guy for an extended period of time in practice, if that happened?